Good morning, it's Karen at Simply Living for Him. I am here to do my daily devotional video. These videos can be now found on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching there, or you can find these in our Simply Living for Him online community group that is just for women, where I host Bible studies and prayer and devotionals, and we do scripture writing and memorization, and we just have great, amazing encouragement and fellowship. So if you'd like to join, that link is in the description for this video. And I wanted to talk today about something that I literally think about all the time. And I don't know about you, but I have these thoughts sometimes, and I'll bring them up to my family and I'm like, doesn't everybody think about that? And they're like, no. But anyway, I'm going to try to get this out in words into what I want to say, because it literally is something that I think about quite often. So, the sovereignty of God. Okay, I'm going to read to you from Psalm 139 in just a minute. But really, you know, we get so wrapped up in our lives and in our details and in just all the little things. Sometimes when you stop and think about the sovereignty of God and how you got to each moment of your life, it's truly incredible. And one of the reasons I want to talk about that is just so we can just realize how teeny tiny we are and how big God is. And another reason to bring it up is it just brings such comfort to know that God is in such control. So let's put it this way. Sometimes I talk to my kids and I'll be like, you know, a lot of people in the world will talk about coincidences and, you know, being in the right place at the right time and all of that. And I'll look at things that have happened and, you know, like for instance, how I met my husband. We're always like, wow, if I didn't go that night, because when I met him, I didn't want to go out that night, blah, blah, blah. If I didn't go out that night and I didn't meet him, like none of my kids would be here, you know? So we'll talk about that. But then like you back it up, again, here's where my mind goes. It's not just about that night and that moment. It's literally every moment up to that. Because literally every moment in our lives builds upon another. And then I look at it and I'm like, and not just in our lives, but then in our parents' lives, because every moment in their life had to line up perfectly for them to meet, to have my husband and I, so that we could have our kids. But then I back it up. This is where my mind goes. And I'm like, but then every moment in their grandparents' lives. And then, you know, I just literally, I'll say to my kids, you can go all the way back to Adam and Eve. Really, that every single moment had to line up from the beginning of time to now, just perfectly for every single thing that happens in our lives. And like when I start to think about that stuff, it just blows my mind. The sovereignty of God, how big He is. And when, you know, when we want to get caught up in details and all the stuff that's going on, I'm like, seriously? Not just every moment in my life or my husband's lives or his parents' lives and grandparents, but every single person that has ever existed in the entire world. Every single moment has lined up perfectly to bring the world to where it is at this time. Like, it just is crazy to me. So I want you to get out Psalm 139, because if you're thinking about those kinds of things like me, and really just start to think about that and let your mind just like wander down and be like, wow, I never thought about, there are no coincidences. Every single minute, second is ordained by God since the beginning of time. Every single second had to line up perfectly for you to watch this video right now, for us to be here right now. Like, there's these small things within our lives that we're like, wow, that was a coincidence. But when you think about all the things in all the world to line up for those to happen, it just boggles my mind. Do you think about these things? Tell me I'm not weird, because I think about these things. So Psalm 139 is so rich, and there's so much in there. I mean, there's the verse here in lines 13 to 16 that everybody pretty much is familiar with. For you formed my inward parts, you wove me in my mother's womb. I will give thanks to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. And your eyes have seen my unformed substance. And here's the part that I want to kind of think about. And in your book were all written the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them. God has every single day of our life ordained. So when we get caught up in all the details and all the worries and all the fretting, it doesn't change the fact that every single second of our life has been ordained already, just like every single second from the beginning of time to get to this place. And that to me has been very freeing. Some folks have asked recently about anxiety and worry, and I'm doing a Bible study about that in June in our Simply Living for Him community. One of the biggest things that helped me overcome my anxiety and worry was this very thing, was realizing the sovereignty of God. Like, there is no amount of anxiety or worry that I can put into my life that is going to change what it says here, because the Bible is 100% true. And it says here, and in your book were all written the days that were ordained for me and for you and for every single person in this earth. So when I worry about things and I fret about things, it's not changing obviously the God that is sovereign over the whole universe. The only thing it does is paralyze me. And so this is so freeing when you really get this verse, because then it says to you, okay, all the days are ordained in my life. What am I going to do with them? What am I going to do with the finite amount of time that He has given me on this earth? Worry about them? Absolutely not. It's like you're just going to make the best use of every single day. And because you know that no matter what you do, you can't change the amount of time, but you can change the quality of time that you have. And so that is a big one for me. And it's been so freeing to really grasp this whole concept. And, on the other hand, people can say, wow, it's such a big responsibility. I feel like I have to make the best of every day and all that. But again, it's freeing because God is sovereign over all. And when you are lined up with His desires, every single thing you do is going to be an outflow of that relationship, and you're going to be in His will doing His work. So ultimately, it's a win-win. You don't have to worry about the amount of time, and you don't have to worry about what you do with that time, because when you're walking with the Lord and you're lined up with His will, He's got it all under His control. It's so freeing to let go of ourselves and just trust that God is in control with the amount of time, with the quality of time, with all of it. The problem is when we put ourselves into it, we say, we aren't comfortable, we don't like this, we're worried, we're afraid, we want our life to look this way, we want it to look that way. When I think about the fact that every single second since the beginning of time has been ordained by God up till this point, I have no fear. He is completely in control. It is just such an amazing and wonderful and freeing thing to grasp. And so it's taken me a long time to get to that place. So if you're watching and you're like, well, I don't feel that way, that's where I'm at. I'm not saying that is, where everybody is at, but I want to give you that encouragement to really meditate on Psalm 139 today. Meditate on the whole thing. I gave you just some of it there. And I mean, it even goes on to say here at the end, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. He knows that we get anxious. So read the whole Psalm. It says in the beginning, when I sit down and when I rise up, He knows every single thing. He knows every anxious thought. He knows all these things, lining up with His will and lining up with Him and just giving it all to Him. It's how we're meant to live. It says here, He understands my thought from afar. He understands. So you can say to Him, Lord, I'm anxious. Lord, I'm, focusing on all the details. Lord, I look around this world and I get stressed. He gets it. He's been in control since the beginning of time. What a freeing thought. So I hope that encourages you. I hope I was clear, because this, like I said, is something I think about all the time, but it's hard for me to verbalize. So let me know if you think I was clear. Let me know if I was clear as mud. Let me know what you think, and comment wherever you're seeing this. And if you're not in the Simply Living for Him community yet and you want to be, go to simplylivingforhim.com/community and you can join us.